Deep in the depths of a forgotten forest, just beyond the reach of a quiet little town, there stood an abandoned fairground. Once it had been a place of joy, where music danced in the air and the glow of lights promised laughter. But time had twisted it into something far darker. They whispered that when the last lights had flickered and the laughter had faded, something sinister had taken root there. A shadow, an evil presence, a witch hidden among the attractions. I am the one who carries that story, the story of the witch of the fair. I still remember the first time I saw her. The night was heavy with clouds, the air cold enough to sting, and there was a strange current moving through the forest, as though the world itself was holding its breath. The lights of the fair glimmered faintly in the distance, sputtering weakly, barely able to cut through the darkness. What should have been cheerful music floated through the air, but instead of lifting my spirits, it crept down my spine like icy fingers. I wandered through empty corridors where once crowds had gathered, and it was there, in that silence, that I first saw her. A twisted, hunched silhouette, cloaked in a long black robe that dragged against the dirt. Her hair was darker than the night itself, falling around a face so pale and wrinkled it seemed carved from stone. Her eyes, bright, piercing, alive with something unnatural, locked onto mine, and in that instant it felt as if she could read every hidden thought in my soul. A laugh split the night, not human, sharp, jagged, echoing in ways that made the very air shiver. She tilted her head and spoke, her voice both a whisper and a creak of old wood. "What are you doing here, little one?" I tried to move, but my legs had become roots, binding me in place. My mouth stumbled over words. "I was just looking around." The witch's laughter grew louder, crawling inside my skull until I thought it would split me apart. I tried again. No, I was just walking." But my voice cracked under the weight of fear. The wind rose suddenly, icy and merciless, whipping through the fair. Lights stuttered, shadows twisted, and when I dared to open my eyes again, she was gone. I ran. My heart hammered against my ribs as I tore through the darkness and back toward the town. But I knew, even then, that something had changed. They said anyone who met her gaze was marked, carried away toward a fate from which no one returned. Years passed, but her shadow never left me. The curiosity that should have faded only grew, festering in my mind like a wound that refused to heal. I avoided the fair, yet I could never let go of the question, who was she, and what had really happened there? The answers came one rainy afternoon. I was sitting in my grandmother's kitchen, the smell of old wood and tea heavy in the air. She was a frail woman, with silver hair and eyes that had seen too much. She noticed my silence, the way I stared into nothing, and asked what troubled me. I told her about the witch, about the abandoned fair, about the fear that still clung to me after all those years. Her spoon stilled inside her cup. She sighed, a sound that carried decades of sorrow, and began to speak. When she was a child, she said, the fair had not been a place of dread, but of life. Laughter, lights, rides, music. It had been the pride of the town. But then came a dark season, a time when children began to vanish. One by one, little boys and girls disappeared, leaving behind only the wails of grieving parents. Whispers spread that the fair was cursed, that a witch had taken residence there and stolen the children away.
Fear grew so great that families stopped going, and the once lively fairground decayed into silence.
No one ever found the missing. No search revealed any trace. And so the legend hardened, leaving the fair abandoned, its name spoken only in hushed warnings. Her voice broke when she admitted that even she did not know what became of those children. Some said the witch took them to another world. Others swore their souls still wandered the fair, trapped in its shadows. Whatever the truth, the story was a scar carved into the town. Her words should have been a warning, but instead they ignited something inside me. Fear, yes, but also resolve. The thought of those children, forgotten, abandoned, lost in darkness, haunted me more than the witch herself. And so, one night beneath a full moon, I returned. The fair greeted me like a corpse refusing to rot. Lights flickered faintly, casting ghostly halos. The air pressed down like invisible hands, suffocating and heavy. Each step forward pulled me deeper into silence, into eyes I could not see but felt everywhere. My heart screamed to turn back, but my feet carried me forward until I reached a tent, its entrance gaping wide like the mouth of some waiting beast. Inside, shadows swallowed everything. Dolls sat broken, their painted eyes cracked and hollow. The wooden floor creaked underfoot as though it groaned with memories of those who once walked there. Then came the cold, the unmistakable breath of something not human. A laugh threaded through the silence, the same laugh that had haunted me years ago. "Gustavo," a voice whispered. It knew my name. And then she appeared again, emerging from the shadows, her robes swirling like smoke, her smile curved in unnatural delight. Her eyes pinned me where I stood. Her voice, calm yet powerful, asked me what I wanted, and I answered with trembling honesty. I wanted to know what had happened to the children. Her smile withered, and her tone grew grave. She said the children had been taken beyond this world, to a place where time fractured, where desires twisted into unrecognizable shapes. Their souls, she told me, were not dead, but trapped, caught between what is and what could have been. I asked if I could help. Her gaze cut through me like a blade. Yes, she said, but it would demand sacrifice, something precious, something irreplaceable. Before I could ask more, she dissolved into the dark, her last words echoing. Deep mysteries are rarely revealed without cost. I should have left then. I should have run and never returned. But instead I stayed. I searched. I clawed through the ruins of that cursed place until one night I found them, makeshift graves hidden beneath the rotting wood of an old attraction. Names scratched into crude markers, names that time had forgotten. The children, they had been there all along. The grief that fell upon me was unbearable, but so was the truth. She appeared again, watching me with those unholy eyes, telling me their souls were still trapped, still bound between worlds. If I wished to free them, I must give up what mattered most. And so I chose. I gave up myself, my soul. The world around me split apart as the boundary between realms opened. I saw the children, no longer broken, no longer lost, but glowing, luminous with a peace they had been denied. Their eyes met mine, and though they spoke no words, I felt their gratitude. Yet I could not stay. The sacrifice I had made had already severed me from the life I knew.
The last thing I saw was the witch standing far in the shadows, laughing. A laugh not of triumph, not of mockery, but of something older and colder, an echo of forces I could never comprehend. The children vanished into light. I vanished into darkness. And in the silence that followed, I understood the truth far too late. I should never have stepped foot in that fair, because in the blink of an eye, it had taken everything from me.